that interferes with judicial independence and
you're
ignores the Supreme
pro-raper.
Court.
Happy Friday, folks. Hope you're doing well. You've made it. You've made it to the end of a long, long week, and it's my job now to edutain you for the next 20 minutes on what has been going on and hopefully lift your spirits as you're going into the weekend. We will be talking on some darker issues. However, there is some optimism on the other side of this, and that is the fact that Michelle Rempel Garner has been doing the Lord's work this week. I'll say that much. I don't envy her job right now, dealing with the likes of Lina Diab, our immigration minister, who, quite frankly, is just a couple French fries short of a Happy Meal, if you know what I'm saying. Doesn't really know what she's doing, can't really give a good answer to really anything or stance that she has taken in her role. And lots of times she's looking around her colleagues, hoping that they could save her and give her an answer that she could use. That's what's happening, and that is what had happened this week. Michelle hit her hard in House of Commons, hit her hard in question period earlier this week, and then yesterday, well, crap really hit the fan in committee yesterday evening, and oh baby, let's just say, if you're frustrated with immigration where things are at this point, especially with the temporary foreign worker program, and the fact that our government doesn't seem to value Canadians paying into our system, but keeps giving away money left, right, and center to people who have been here for 2 weeks on bogus asylum claims, well, you're in the right place, and Michelle is speaking on your behalf. And it gets, let's just say, she gets to her wit's end this week, and oh man, she says everything that we all want to say. It gets wild. We're going to get into all of it, but welcome to the Elevate Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. If you're getting value from today's episode, take the time to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us to grow. It helps us get to new audiences, and it helps people see that there is something different than what the mainstream media has to offer. And now let's get into our first story, shall we? So we're going to start off with how well this whole thing kicked off. You have the chair of the committee right here, Liberal MP Julie Zarowitz, and virtually is telling people, hey, we need to really be cautious with our language today because it can be used online or offline to really hurt people and hurt people coming to this country. So let's be careful, okay? Let's just ease our use of specific wording and how we use our tone, tone policing, that whole thing. So Michelle Rempel Garner goes on a 6-minute response to this. We're going to show the first minute of that response and the last minute of that response, and just give you the idea of she came not to play games, and to let you know, I don't give a crap what you have to say. Listen to this.
I want to implore all committee members from all parties, that's all of us from all sides and our staff, to be very cognizant about how we use the information from this committee, whether it's online or offline. It is vitally important that we understand how we're using it and how it may be interpreted, because we do not want, whether it's witnesses from the department. I see you, Ms. Rempel Garner, please let me finish. We do not, whether it's witnesses that are from the Immigration Citizenship Department or any of our witnesses in any way ever to feel that it is a safety risk for them to come before our committee, and that coming before our committee would in any way ever result from their safety being in any way threatened.
I had hoped to talk to you offline about it, but you've now introduced it. So I would like to provide the Conservative response to the letter. I wish we could have done this in private, but you have introduced it, so I'm going to briefly provide the Conservative response.
It's like I was hoping we would actually be able to have a conversation about this offline, but you brought it up here in committee in front of everyone. So you know what? Game on. And she goes into about a 6-minute response about this issue and hits 6 or 7 different points, which you can watch on your own time. We'll provide the links down below. However, watch her on the final minute of this response, and that's where it just gives you an idea of the tone that she took.
Today, the head count at your department has doubled, yet processing times in some streams have grown to a mind-boggling 10 years. That is insane. In no going concern would any board members allow the FTE count to double while the outcome becomes precipitously worse. This is squarely the fault of your prime ministers who have treated the immigration ministry as the armpit of cabinet, appointing multiple incompetent ministers incapable of righting the ship over the last decade. So, in closing, I will not be silenced. The members of my committee will not be silenced. And you, Minister, need to do better.
She's like, okay, if you're going to start off by saying, hey, let's be careful with our tone, Let's be careful with what we're doing. Let's be cautious here. We don't know how this is going to be used. She's like, how about this? You guys have very much screwed up. Both your prime ministers, quite frankly, suck and have only appointed terrible people to the position of immigration minister. And this has only gotten worse. So guess what? I'm not going to listen to your directive. I'm going to say whatever I'm going to say. We're going to share what we're going to share. You're not going to silence us. And you can do two things about it. Absolutely nothing and like it. That's where she left it and let her know what's up. And so as we continue into this committee meeting, that was the tone that was set right from the get-go. So the first interaction that Michelle has with Lina Diab here is the fact of the word salad that Diab tends to go on, doesn't give straight answers. She pushes her on the idea of immigration, pushes her on getting specific answers on these areas that she's claimed to have expert opinion on and is supposed to be overlooking. And Lina Diab just, again, wasn't really giving an answer. Michelle's like, well, guess what? That's just not going to work for me. And then they have such a weird, peculiar interaction. And Lina Diab's response is head scratching.
Minister, I understand the Liberals want to silence me and rescue you. They shouldn't let him rescue you. He's going to have your job. Will you support an amendment to ensure that your government...
So catch this, right? So what she's talking about here is like, this point, there's a lot of bit of filibustering here happening from the Liberals, trying to cover for Lina Diab, not to have to answer these things, buys her some time. And there's a Liberal MP, Peter, I forget his last name. Anyways, Liberal MP, who's likely what Michelle believes is going to be the person who's going to take Lina Diab's job in the new year, saying, these people can't save you. I know they're trying to save you. I don't know why they're wanting to, because he's going to have your job in the new year. So I don't know. He's going to get a pay raise. So I don't know why he's trying to help you. But they're not going to do anything. And then goes right on in.
Government can't mass extend 3 million people because you have no plan to remove them. Yes or no? And like, this is really bad. Like, will you support an amendment to ensure that your government can't mass extend 3 million people because you have no plan to remove them? Yes or no? And like, this is really bad. Like, can you just
Listen,
be clear?
member, when you ask a question, I think you should be able to have decency to let someone respond. If you don't like any responses, then please continue
I don't
to
like
do
your
what
word
you'd like.
salad. It's true.
So-
You are a very bad minister.
Oh, you
So
know what?
will you
I
support
prefer
my-
fattoush and tabbouleh to your salad at any time.
That is the oddest thing any immigration minister
Well,
has
and-
said at this committee. It's very
No, but
weak
it's
and
my culture. I
will
can't-
likely
it
be
is what
added
it
to your
is.
performance review. So will you
Thank you so
support
much.
a Part 7 amendment to ensure that your government cannot use the mass extension powers or the powers in Part 7 to mass extend millions of temporary resident visas?
Again, heading with the idea of like, all right, can you guarantee or give us assurances that you will not use these powers to mass extend 3 million temporary resident visas? Could you give us that assertion? And you'd go essentially case by case basis at this point to make sure who's here legitimately, who's providing and giving to our economy, and those who are just like, actually, sorry, we actually don't have any need right now for your services. Unfortunately, sorry, we are going to move forward. Like, again, having a case by case perspective on how this should all go. That was the question. And Lina Diab took offense to the fact that Michelle keeps pestering her, keeps pushing her, keeps getting in her grill on these issues. And she says, are you going to give me a chance to respond? Because that's like showing, pulls the whole Melanie Jolie thing. If you're not going to let me respond, I don't need to be here. No, about to pull that whole thing. And Michelle interrupts her and says, yeah, I don't like your word salad. I want you to give straight answers. Hello. She's like, and then Lina Diab hits her with, I like fattoush and tabbouleh with my salad any day of the week. And the crowd goes, mild? What was that statement? Michelle responded in kind, said, yeah, that was one of the most odd things I've ever heard an immigration minister say. We'll throw it on your performance review. Thank you very much. And continued on with committee. But again, I really want to hit all these things because obviously we have someone who's very incompetent as immigration minister right now. Worse than anyone they've put in there. Worse than Sean Fraser. Worse than Mark Miller, which is really hard to do, but she's managing to do it. And Michelle Rempel Garner is such a seasoned politician, has been in the space a long time, and she's fueled with fury, annoyance, and frustration, and she's going to pick you limb from limb. And if you're not on your game, well, you're going to get smoked. And that's what's happening right here. And that happened throughout this committee because Michelle Rempel Garner made sure to set the stage, made sure to set the precedent in question period earlier in this week on Tuesday, where they were asking specific questions regarding immigration and trying to ask specific questions about the issues that liberals have been trying to cover up. And an immigration question was asked, and you watch very carefully. Liberals tell Lina Diab to sit down. It's very fascinating. Watch this.
Mr. Speaker, when the new Minister of Culture was Immigration Minister, he said, quote, "I don't see a world in which we lower immigration targets. Whether we revise them upwards or not is something that I have to look at, but certainly I don't think we will lower them," end quote. Then in 2024, he made history by allowing nearly 500,000 permanent residents into the country, the highest ever in a single year. Today, we're in a national housing crisis, emergency rooms are overflowing, and we're in a youth jobs crisis. Mr. Speaker, how does the current immigration minister feel about holding the bag for a Trudeau-era guy who just got promoted for making a big mess?
So again, going after Mark Miller's terrible record, asking Lina Diab if she wants to hold the bag of the Trudeau-era minister who made a mess of this whole thing. And again, that question, you heard it, was directed at Lina Diab, the current immigration minister. And watch what happens here.
Minister of Immigration.
Lina Diab's there, far left, at the end of the bench. She's standing up. You can see her there, just to the left of the Canadian flag. She's ready to go. Keep an eye on her and watch her look down the bench here and watch what happens. We have Steve McKinnon down here, very, very far left corner of your screen. He's looking down at her. He tries to get her attention. Watch.
The Honourable Minister of
He said, "Sit down, Lina, sit down." And we're going to have someone else answer this.
Immigration.
And so that goes on. They move the question to another individual. He answers it. And then it eventually goes back towards the Conservatives on the other side. And Michelle's response to that was, well, hilarious.
Quite the indictment when they don't even let the immigration minister answer a question about immigration. In a CBC interview back when he was immigration minister, the new Minister of Culture dismissed Premier's pleas for support for a flood of Liberal-enabled fraudulent asylum claims by saying, "I think what they, the Premiers, are advancing is a complete crock of bleep." In reality, he oversaw billions of dollars going to house bogus asylum claimants while emergency room overflowed. So my question is this: if that failed immigration minister can get a promotion, does this mean that the current prime minister will promote the current one too?
Again, they've been railing on Mark Miller, the fact that he got promoted to a cabinet seat after Evo vacated his. And that's the question that was posed. Like, is Lina Diab going to be promoted after all this is said and done? That's the question. Lina Diab gets the nod to be able to answer this question, and you can see why in this answer, why the Liberals had her sit down in the first place.
The Honourable Minister for Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship.
Speaker, thank you very much. Let me thank this colleague and this member for placing her confidence in me and in this government. Let me tell you one thing. Canadians elected this government with a big mandate. We have brought in a generational budget that includes a sustainable immigration plan, one that will deal with permanent immigration as well as the temporary immigration and bring our global talent. Why does that member and her party keep obstructing every single time? Get on board!
Oh, man. Goes full word salad with the tabbouleh and, so on. Doesn't say a whole lot. Realizes halfway through that she's not saying a whole lot. And then hits the party instructed term that they've been using in the question period for the past couple of weeks, is saying, "Get on board with us. Get on board." So she didn't say a whole lot, realized she wasn't saying a whole lot, and then ended with, "Get on board." And naturally, again, this was Michelle's response to that.
Hill.
It's so bad. Okay.
Michelle's standing there in the House of Commons being like, it's so bad. I can't even feign that was a good answer right now. Like, that was terrible. And this woman is terrible at her job and making my job very easy at this point, to a degree. And that's what it was. And that's what I mean. I wanted to hit back at this December 2nd question period because this set the precedent and set the stage for how committee went last night. Because one of the questions they asked Lina Diab and other Liberal ministers during this committee was, you just brought in 674 new immigrants to fill doctors' positions. 674. So again, the type of immigration we actually want to see. People that come in with specialized skills that are filling positions that we can't currently fill at the moment. 674 doctors. That's the point they brought up. And the question was, have you made sure that they got jobs, or where are they? That was the question. And well, you can guess what the answer was going to be.
Last year, your department approved permanent residency for 674 immigrant doctors through the Federal Skilled Workers Express Entry Program. How many of those 674 immigrants are now licensed and practicing as doctors in Canada?
That would not be information that I have.
What are we talking about here?
Okay.
Oh, I was expecting you to go a little bit longer before I had to continue, but all right, I guess I'll ask the next person.
Minister Michelle, do you know how many of those 674 immigrant doctors are now practicing in Canada?
No, I don't have the information.
Oh, I'm going to pull Michelle Rempel-Garner. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. Like, the performance is embarrassing at this point. Like, I'm embarrassed for them at this. I'm embarrassed for our country. I'm embarrassed for these people. How do you not burst out laughing in their face with how little they know and how incompetent they are at their jobs? Like, you put them in any job in any private sector, they'd be fired, including bagging groceries. They'd be fired. Like, they'd be done. This is absolutely ridiculous. Because as committee continues, Michelle Rempel-Garner is pushing on the idea of the temporary foreign workers program. The fact that big corporations keep asking, we need more TFWs, we need more TFWs, even though they are rejecting applications at this point in time. We need TFWs. Why? Why does Tim Hortons in the middle of downtown Toronto need TFWs? They can't find any Canadian to fill their jobs? Really? Really? She kept pushing that idea. Why are you looking to admit more of them? And again, this interaction went exactly how you thought it would go.
Okay. Why are you still giving TFW work permits to fast food restaurants in major urban centers? That's crazy.
Again, as I
1 minute.
explained before, the ESDC goes through and decides where we have labor gaps. People who are getting these, businesses who are getting these have to go through an
But
LMIA assessment.
Did you tell Patty I'm a little uncomfortable issuing these permits? We have a 20% youth job crisis. I am not going to give Tim Hortons in urban centers work permits. We should change the program. Have you said that to your colleague?
Any employer that receives these goes through a strenuous process where they have to show they cannot find, as well, it's 1% of our target.
But there's a lot of fraud in that,
it's-
and I have a hard time believing that a fast food restaurant in downtown Toronto needs a TFW for basic work. So have you made any effort to close the program off? Like, if you said, hey, maybe we should bet on Canadian kids and scrap the program?
We're always betting on Canadian kids. That's
don't
why
think
we
you
have
are.
what we have. As in terms of facts, there's a 70% decrease
That
in
is
the
time.
temporary foreign
Thank you,
worker
Ms. Rempel-Garner.
permits in
Thank you.
low-wage industries.
Thank you, Minister.
And pressing, rightfully so. That is a question I'm sure we're all having, is why are we continuing to grant TFW permits to these corporations who clearly don't need them? It's simply just for them to make money, scam the system, and exploit the people that they bring over. Why are we still doing this? And your immigration minister can't give an answer. That's why we're likely not going to see Lina Diab here anymore in the new year. When Carney does his inevitable next big shuffle and the full shuffle of his cabinet, Lina Diab's going to be gonzo, and Peter, I'm forgetting his last name, is likely going to probably fill in her position, and we'll be back to normal. However, this is bad. This is bad, but good at the same time. Why is it good? It's because the reason why liberals have been able to get away with these things for so long is because they've had just enough prowess in dealing with questions in media that people don't really ask questions. But when you see Lina Diab just completely implode time and time and time again to the point her party's asking her to please stop talking in the question period, well, regular people see that and realize, holy crap, we have morons running this government. I thought Carney was a good guy. I thought Carney trusted people. I thought Carney only surrounded himself with the smartest and the brightest. Yeah, he doesn't give two craps about it, quite frankly. This is where I want to end off, though, is Michelle brings up a very heavy issue. The issue of the fact that we have people coming in this country committing very violent crimes, including sexually assaulting minors, sexually assaulting women, and them being given less sentences because it might impact their immigration status. Meaning they're convicted, they would be deported. And the fact that judges have the opportunity to consider immigration status before they give a sentencing is, quite frankly, a joke. And this is the issue Michelle Rempel-Garner brings up to Lena Diab. And of course, Lena can't give an answer, and Michelle has it up to hear and lets her hear it.
She can't even answer a basic question. So I'm asking you, you have people, non-citizens who have been convicted of sexual assault, and judges are using a serious criminality loophole that's in your bill, in your department. Do you think that should maybe be changed?
People who are committing serious offenses will be deported. I'll tell you.
No, this guy wasn't. He's still here.
Well, we're talking now. I can't
minute.
talk. I don't know what year you're referring to. I don't
All of these
really know
cases, they're still here.
And again, I think what you're trying to do is, this is
Stand
an
up for
approach
victims?
that it's a recycled approach that we heard years ago that interferes with judicial independence and
you're
ignores the Supreme
pro-raper.
Court precedent. But again, I say to you, the courts have already indicated that serious offenses will be
You're
dealt with
pro-sexual
seriously.
assault guy staying in Canada. That's what we're hearing. But can't you even just say that this is wrong and you'll look into it? Like, did nobody even say, like, maybe you could just say, Minister, this is really serious. You should say it's serious. I'm going to look into it. Maybe we could work together on it. You just defended a guy who, like, sexually assaulted somebody and should be deported. And you're the immigration minister.
I don't know the facts you're
I just told you. I've raised it in the House, and you guys have done nothing. And it's continuing every day. It's rampant in our justice system. You have the responsibility to do this, and you've done nothing. Why?
Thank you, Ms. Rempel-Garner.
And as much as that was a formal thing to say for the chair to say, I will say it genuinely. No, thank you, Michelle, for doing your work on this one. This stuff is very heavy. It's very serious. And to see a very human, real, genuine, and controlled emotional response to what we are seeing, and the fact that this immigration minister keeps trying to gaslight, saying, no, they will be deported. And it's like, shut up. They're not being deported, though. They're not. You're not actually looking into this by case basis and sending them away for what they've done. You don't care. You are a pro-raper. You're pro-sexual assault. Did I say that too loud? It's the reality. You keep defending these people and shrug your shoulders when it happens. People's lives are turned upside down in this country by these people, and you've done nothing about it. And Michelle came, and she chose violence in this proceeding. She said it at the beginning. I don't care what you're going to tell me what to say on or offline about this issue. We're going to be loud, and we're going to be in your face until you fix it. And comes in and says that you're a pro-raper, pro-sexual assault. Oh, did I say that out loud? Whoops. Don't care. Fix it. Does that make you a little uncomfortable? Don't care. Fix it. And as much as it's frustrating these things are happening in our country, and people like Lena Diab are in their jobs, I think it's a positive note to go on into the weekend. That someone like Michelle is fighting tooth and nail to expose this corruption and this nonsense. And the fact that she's willing to not hold back and give it her all and let them know just what she thinks of them, while in a constructive manner to go after the heart of the issue, needs to be commended. And I can't wait to see what else comes of this and expose the fraud, the corruption, and the abuse of our system that we are currently seeing. But anyways, I'll see you later. Enjoy your weekend. You people are absolutely fantastic. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out.